Welcome back to the Pokémon VGC UK National Championships. We are approaching the final game of this tournament. It's been an insane ride from the beginning to the end. You guys have been following all the action, both on VGC, TCG and Pokémon Tournament Series. But yeah, in terms of social media, you can tweet at us some more and connect with us some more, because tell us how you felt about this entire tournament. We thought it was crazy. Some crazy things have been happening. We've seen some crazy Pokemon. But yeah, on youtube.com/Pokemon, facebook.com/Pokemon, subscribe and like those pages respectively, and then twitter.com/Pokemon News UK, follow that as well, and tweet at us with the hashtag #PlayPokemon.
Yeah, who are you rooting for in that amazing final matchup? Alejandro, the player from Spain that made it to lovely Liverpool just to play in this tournament, and
or the dark horse Ethan Hall. In fact, I'd rather talk about Ethan Hall, because he was very off-grid in terms of regional appearances. He went to the London regionals, got top 8 there with a very interesting Rocky Helmet Garchomp set. And yeah, today he's come out and really impressed the scene with a unique pick on that team. His team consists of Xerneas, Groudon, Kangaskhan, Gengar, Moongus, and especially Latios.
Yeah, not quite the Garchomp, but this time another Dragon Buddy of Garchomp, I guess. Latios, not something we've seen too often. I did not actually commentate over any of his games, but I watched them. So yeah, that Latios, he really likes leading off with that, just spreading some damage, and it's been working for him very, very well.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving the Latios, and
he was able to tear down some of the tournament favorites, for example, against William Tansley in that semi-final. And yeah, I'm sure in the Swiss round he also had faced a lot of tough challenge. So even though Latios is probably not something you would have expected here, there's definitely no way to take away any credits of him, since there was such a tough tournament. Players played like 30, 40, maybe even more games, since all the way it was best of 3, and you can't get through such a tournament just based on luck or anything like that. And yeah, his team was just very cleverly designed. And
but
really nice.
Speaking of going through a tournament, Alejandro Gómez, he has had a tournament and a half, 13 rounds of best of 3, and he has not dropped a single round. He has dropped a couple games, but hasn't lost a single best of 3 throughout the weekend. His team consists of Kyogre, Groudon, Thundurus, Kangaskhan, Salamence, Cresselia. It's a very, very common team, I would say. I would call this the new Big Six.
I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, of course, if you go with Kyogre and Groudon, then something like Thundurus and Salamence are picks that a lot of players have been picking up. But as for the Kangaskhan and the Cresselia surprisingly has like a lot of more usage than Bronzong that a lot of people predicted to be important here as well. But I mean, it's definitely a very strong team. And going over his accomplishments, that list is just a little bit longer. I don't want to read out everything of that, but you can see how much experience he has.
There's not many players who have more accomplishments than Alejandro Gómez. Easily, one of Spain's best ever players in history.
Yeah, one of Europe's best players in history, definitely. Very, very clever about the game. Also, if you talk to him about like positioning and so on, he always has like a clear mind, and like, I don't know, I'm just a fan. I don't know. But Ethan, he also his bulky Xerneas and bulky Groudon. That was something that I was toying around a little bit with, since early in the format, everybody thought that your Xerneas has to be super fast to contest other Xerneas.
Yeah.
But if you're setting up the Geomancy anyway, the way Ethan plays it is more in a way where he'll take a little bit of damage before he's able to get up the Geomancy, but once he gets it up,
and you hear the crowd potentially going
it's the
wild.
Finals. Give it up. I mean, wow.
Yeah, and Twitter us again with the hashtag #PlayPokemon. Tell us who you're supporting for this final. One last time, Ethan Hall versus Alejandro Gómez. I don't know what to expect from this matchup. Ethan Hall has been battling through double primal teams all weekend, I can only assume. This is one crazy matchup, and I can't wait to see who gets crowned our national championship champion.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think this matchup comes down to whether Ethan is able to get his Xerneas into a good position, get up that Geomancy. His opponent's team only has one resistance to fairy-type attacks, and that is that Groudon. Whenever I'm running like a Xerneas scheme kind of team, and I see, okay, they have Cresselia and not Bronzong, I'm immediately happy. We didn't see too many Bronzong here, and Ethan was able to make it through this tournament, so I guess, yeah, he hit those matchups where he could definitely play and contest with their opponents, but Alejandro, of course, being the player he is, I'm sure he has some tricks up his sleeve to stop that Xerneas from dealing all the damage.
Yes, interesting to see that Alejandro has decided to opt for Cresselia instead of Bronzong, Bronzong being his signature after coming in top 2 in the Glasgow regionals. But here we go. Cresselia over Bronzong, a good choice, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the way he plays it, we saw all the moves revealed in the previous set. He does not have Trick Room.
He does not have Trick Room?
No, he does not have Trick Room. He opts to go for Thunder Wave, Icy Wind, Gravity, and Skill Swap.
Yeah, but here we see a very common lead that Ethan Hall has been leading with pretty much every single game I've seen him play. Latios and Groudon, while Alejandro does lead with the Groudon and the Thunderous. The Salamance's Intimidate does activate and does reduce Ethan's Groudon's attack, and also the Latios' attack, but that barely matters.
I wouldn't be too surprised if we just saw like a Thunder Wave coming out into that Latios, which is something that William Tansley also tried. However, he was not able to really take those games off of even though with his dual primal teams in the semifinals, it looked like he always had like he was like in control for the entirety of the match. But then at the very end, when Kangaskhan and Xerneas hit the field, like Fake Out Geomancy or Frustration Geomancy, and all of a sudden that Xerneas just wrecked through the team. So yeah, Alejandro, I don't think he was able to see those games, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he has an idea of what is coming there.
Yes, especially because Latios is the only paralyzing the Latios is the only move that Thunderous can really do. It can't really harm the Groudon with Thunderbolt, and Latios is only taking a minuscule amount of damage from Thunderbolt.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess just trying to protect the Salamence, and that is what he's going to do, is like the safest play. You don't want to run into a surprise Draco Meteor, and there is the Thunder Wave.
Yeah, that confirming a Thunder Wave onto the Latios. The Latios may have gone for a Draco Meteor on the Salamence. But we do see a Psychic right onto the Thunderous. Usually Ethan seems to have gone for a Draco Meteor on protecting Salamances, but Alejandro does proc the Citrus Berry on the Thunderous, and we see a Rock Tomb from the Groudon
into the Salamence,
into the protecting Salamence, which I don't...
Yeah, I think he was probably anticipating a switch there instead of that Protect. Because, of course, if he is expecting a Protect, then he could just double up into the Thunderous to get the KO despite the Citrus Berry. Though, I'm not even sure if Rock Tomb would have been enough, but yeah, he could have also gone for Fire Punch if he has that. But yeah, Alejandro can definitely be happy with that turn. He got off that Thunder Wave and didn't take too much damage. I mean, the Citrus Berry is gone now on Thunderous, but Thunderous is not the most useful thing in this situation anyway. He could try to preserve it for later on to get a Thunder Wave off onto the Xerneas, but it'll be tough because you don't really want to switch anything in on that ground.
And speaking of switching, we see no switches from either side of the field. The Salamence does decide to Mega Evolve, deciding to not preserve the Intimidate for later. We do see a double edge onto the Latios. Will it knock out?
And it gets the KO.
It does pick up the KO. Latios does go down, and this Thunderous can't really do much to the Groudon. The Thunderbolt's not affecting the Groudon at all. We do see a Fire Punch right into the Thunderous. Does it knock out? The Intimidate
barely hangs in there.
The Intimidate is paying dividends there, and the Thunderous clings on there with just a slither of health.
So Alejandro did not expect, or wasn't sure whether Double Edge would be enough to knock out that Latios, and he wanted to make things absolutely sure, so he did not think about switching, for example, into his Kyogre, which could have been a good play to keep Thunderous around for later on, but he did not decide to do that, and yeah, now I'm thinking to myself, like, what does he have in the bag? If he has both Kyogre and Groudon, then potentially that Xerneas could be really problematic, but because if Thunderous goes down, he does not have any way to contest it in terms of speed. And yep, speaking of it, there is the Xerneas coming in.
Yes, the Xerneas has come in, but it is still a little bit threatened by the Thunder Wave.
Yeah, definitely, but something he could do is, for example, just protect Xerneas and switch out the Groudon into either the Kangaskhan or the Amoonguss, depending on what he chose to bring in the back. And yeah, Alejandro has to like make a read and catch that switch if he wants to like prevent that Xerneas engine to start.
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, Ethan does also run into the risk of having the Thunderous protect on his own protect.
yeah, but of course, if he switches into Amoonguss or Kangaskhan, then he can go for Rage Powder or Fake Out. But actually, he decides to withdraw the Xerneas. Okay, I'm not sure if Alejandro is too happy with that play.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a... yeah, we do see a Protect burning on the Thunderous. Very cleverly done by Ethan. We do see a Hyper Voice. It's going to do a hefty chunk to both of these Pokemon. About the same amounts, and a very good prediction from Ethan's end.
Wow,
going for
what
the
a
Rock
risky
Tomb.
play though from Alejandro. He did not care about that Xerneas at all. He was so sure that that was going to go for that Protect that I mentioned earlier. And he also wanted to have his Thunderous around for a little longer. So yeah, with that Hyper Voice, for example, if Ethan's last Pokemon was Amoonguss and not that Kangaskhan, then that would have done a lot of damage. And yeah, he could have knocked it out the next hit probably. But yeah, the Rock Tomb coming out on the Salamence, so good play on Ethan as well. So yeah, both players, yeah, I don't know, still trying to look for that crucial moment where they can really swing this battle in their favor.
Yeah, and Salamence does withdraw as it is now slower than the Kangaskhan. The Thunderous is in Fake Out range, so maybe it wants to switch out as well to preserve the Thunder Wave for Cresselia later. But we do see the Kangaskhan Mega Evolving. It is... both of these targets are good fake out targets, and we see a Thunder Wave. We don't see a move at all from the Kangaskhan.
Yeah, no fake out coming out, and yeah, as I mentioned, Alejandro actually did bring that Cresselia to have some sort of speed control against the Xerneas potentially, but just the frustration coming out. So yeah, he was probably anticipating a protect here, sorry, a switch here, but nope, didn't happen. Now he just basically took that Thunder Wave for free, and Cresselia's Levitate makes it avoid that Precipice Blades, and yeah, what a great turn for Alejandro.
Yeah, it is a good turn for Alex, but Ethan still has that Xerneas in the back. It is at full health, it is very, very bulky, and, you know, the Thunderous is now gone, so...
Yeah, it's really important to see whether he brought his Groudon or the Kyogre in the back. I would assume that it has to be that Groudon, but if he has Kyogre, then Xerneas can definitely pull through this game. Groudon, however, yeah, it is like it resists the Fairy type attacks coming out from Xerneas, and yeah, can have like Precipice Blades and Fire Punch to do a lot of damage. But yeah, then again, we saw Ethan's Xerneas take physical attacks pretty well.
Yes, this Salamence is at risk of getting Sucker Punched by the Kangaskhan, and a Rock Tomb will also knock it out.
Yeah, so will be a tough turn. Alejandro probably trying to get us some more sort of speed control on the Cresselia, but he doesn't want to lose too much HP on it before the Xerneas hits the field. So a very interesting situation.
And we do see the Sucker Punch from the Kangaskhan onto the Salamence. Does not quite knock it out.
So even with
the critical hit. Very, very close. Salamence does go for a double edge. The double edge will go into the Kangaskhan, will probably knock it out, but it does knock itself out in the recall, most likely. Yes, we do see the HP bar drop down, and both Megas are down. The Groudon hasn't even moved yet. What does the Groudon go for? Cresselia does go for the Icy Wind, meaning Alejandro, the Icy Wind misses, and Alejandro's Primal Groudon will probably not be able to outspeed next turn, and the Rock Tomb goes into Cresselia, dropping its speed, but that doesn't matter as much.
Wow, and all of a sudden we're finding ourselves in a situation where it can definitely still go either way, but Ethan definitely was able to put himself into a position where he now has the Xerneas on the field. He has the Groudon. Fortunately for him, that Icy Wind did not hit, so now his Groudon potentially able, just as you said, to hit that Precipice Blades against the opposing Groudon. But wow, that's just what happens on Alejandro's end. Like, he made good plays for the whole battle, but he just did not bring one of his restricted Pokemon. So Thunderous and Cresselia, they're just not as strong as Kyogre. And now, I mean, it's down to 2-2, and had he hit that Icy Wind, he would have kind of had the speed advantage. But Cresselia, not really the offensive pressure that he needs in this situation. So it's all on Groudon's shoulders.
Yeah, and although Alejandro does have the skill swap option to give Groudon Levitate, Cresselia is very, very slow at this point, especially after the Rock Tomb.
Yeah, and he just goes for the Geomancy. Okay, he does not want to try and, I don't know, go for a Moonblast and Precipice Blades to potentially knock out the Groudon. He wants to go for that Geomancy. Basically just doubling its special attack stat, like the special defense and speed don't matter too much, potentially. Let's see what that Cresselia will go for, though.
We do see a precipice. We do see a precipice blades from the Groudon. It's going to do a lot of damage to the opposing Groudon.
And it is enough to knock out Groudon.
And maybe a single target the next turn could be just enough to knock out the Xerneas.
Yeah, Thunder Wave.
And we see a Thunder Wave from the Cresselia as well. Multiple forms of speed control on Alex's Cresselia. I think Alex will be able to take this game from now on.
Yeah, definitely. A Fire Punch should be a safe bet, or Gravity, Precipice Blades. Wow, Ethan playing as well as he did in the end. That Cresselia that I mentioned. Yeah, Alejandro, he had the Thundurus in his lead to make sure that he could slow down the Latios, but in the end, another Thunder Wave Pokemon in Cresselia, and that Fire Punch is enough. 1-0 to Alejandro from Spain.
Congratulations to Alex to win that first game in that best-of-3 set. You know, Ethan has that Latios there, but I still feel like it was just sitting there. It got paralyzed very early on, and it always becomes a paralyzed target when it's got the Primal Groudon sitting next to it.
Yeah, on the same end though, as we were discussing earlier when he was playing against William, like Thundurus does not really do anything at all against the Groudon. So just forcing Thundurus in that leading position also creates some kind of interesting dynamic where yes, Latios doesn't really do too much, but also the Thundurus can't really do anything back. So yeah, it was really on to like the Groudon and the Salamence to do the damage there. But I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Ethan to switch things up a little bit. I mean, a Moongus could have been something to redirect attacks from the Xerneas, but I think, yeah, once again, just like in his semifinal, Alejandro's win condition is his bulky Groudon here, that despite being bulky also has a little bit of speed, was faster than Ethan's Groudon there at the very end. So, yeah, I do think Ethan's main objective in this game should be to try and get the Groudon as low as possible, but Alejandro of course knows about that as well. He wants to keep his Groudon as healthy as possible, and so that in the end he can come out on the Xerneas and yeah, just KO it and beat it in the 1v1.
Yes, and if you guys have any ideas of how either of these players should approach this matchup, tweet at us with the hashtag #PlayPokemon. And yes, Ethan and Alejandro, they are... this is a big decision now, because Alex is one game up. He needs to...
He's one game away of becoming the UK National 2016 champion for the video game. Wow. And to add that to his career, while Ethan Hall, he has the chance to basically... I mean, he has already made a name for himself in this tournament, but he could make the upset happen and also beat the favorite Alejandro in this final if he is able to close out the next two games.
Well, here we go. The first game starts off, and yeah, I mean, will Alex lead again with the same leads? I mean, Ethan has been leading the same thing against double primals pretty much all the time.
There
exactly,
it is.
Here we go. Latios and Groudon again. And what do we see from Alejandro Gómez's end? Thundurus and Groudon, switching it up a little bit. The Groudon mirrors might be a little bit unappreciated by both of these players, but the Latios, again, is the prime Thunder Wave target for Alejandro.
Yeah, but Ethan now has the possibility. He sees, okay, Groudon is out on the field, so maybe if he can make something happen there, get damage on it so that he can later pick it up with like a boosted Moonblast or even a Dazzling Gleam. So getting off a Precipice Blades would be really helpful for him, but of course, once again, Alejandro is also aware of that, and will probably just opt to, I don't know, protect his Groudon or maybe even switch out, whereas Ethan Latios doesn't have too many good options here. He will probably just launch an attack.
I was going to say it's got one very good option. It's got a modest Draco Meteor that could very well knock out the Thundurus depending on how Alejandro has trained it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I remember back in the day, the Thundurus were able to take even the Dragon Gem boosted Draco Meteor, and back then the Draco Meteor's space power was even higher, so I do think Thundurus could take that, but yeah, then again, of course, that would do a lot of damage, and with a double target, he can definitely take out that Thundurus. So Alejandro, once again, has to think about, okay, do I want to risk losing my Thundurus just for getting that paralysis on the Latios, or is it more valuable to probably like keep it around a little bit and, I don't know, make a protect and switch play or get himself into another position?
And as we see, Alejandro does bring his Groudon back from play, not risking any Precipice Blades hits.
There it is. I was kind of expecting that. Protects the Thundurus,
and a Psychic onto the Thunderous, a Rock Tomb onto the Thunderous as well. A double target, fantastic protect from Alejandro's
Great
end.
play from Alejandro. His Groudon was... he tried to do anything else there, but yeah, no, you can do that. That is choice luck. So yeah, his Groudon was still at the threat of the Precipice Blades, and since Groudon is so important in this matchup, even though he was kind of anticipating this double up onto the Thunderous, he wanted to make absolutely sure that there was no way that he loses this game. Turn 1, let's say, to Draco Meteor and Precipice Blades onto the Groudon. So the switch in Cresselia makes a lot of sense from the defensive synergy, but also now the fact that he has both his Cresselia and his Thunderous on the field. He can launch like a Thunder Wave as well as an Icy Wind, get himself the speed advantage and so on. So he's looking really strong here.
Yeah, and a Kyogre switching would be very, very good as well, because Groudon's only viable options right now would be to Fire Punch. So maybe we could see some predictions there, but we do see the Latios switching out, maybe fearing the Thunder Wave. The Kangaskhan comes anyway, it's going to be able to provide for the Fake Out pressure, and we see a Thunder Wave onto the Kangaskhan. That Kangaskhan is going to be paralyzed, but the Fake Out pressure is still there. Meanwhile, this Cresselia goes for the Icy Wind, hitting both targets and speeding and slowing both of them down. Something tells me that Groudon is a little bit slower than that Cresselia because it has moved. It is moving later, but we do see a Rock Tomb onto the Thunderous. Is going to do a decent chunk of damage. Is that a critical hit? That was a critical hit. That's big, because even after an Intimidate, Groudon will be able to knock out the Thunderous with yet another Rock Tomb.
Yeah, but Thunderous probably not the most valuable player in this game anymore for Alejandro. It did its job. It was able to get that paralysis on the Kangaskhan, not on the Latios, but then again he also has the Cresselia and potentially, yeah, depending on what he brought in the bag, Kyogre is also not the worst choice against that Choice Scarf Latios. So yeah, Thunder is probably not as important, but like at the moment there is not too much his Thunderous can do. We know for a fact that his Cresselia does not opt to run Protect, since yeah, most players don't. So he doesn't really have a great way to do damage right now. Whereas Ethan, he could go for a Fake Out, but he could also just say, okay, like I'm just going for Precipice Blades to try to call some switches and a Frustration or something. But
yeah,
he switches out.
But we do see the Groudon switching out for the Latios and the Kangaskhan Mega Evolving. One of these targets on Alex's end is probably most likely going to be taking a Fake Out, and it's going to be the
I would be surprised if it wasn't the Thunderous after switching in Latios.
Yeah, that was a very, very good play by Ethan. Just knocking out the Thunderous. Meanwhile, a skill swap with the Kangaskhan, taking away the parental bond. Very good idea. It means that the Cresselia may not have the Levitate to give to Groudon anymore, but a Groudon with parental bond is not something you really want to face.
Yeah, I was about to say, okay, definitely cool to take parental bond, but now, and Salamence is his last Pokemon, so he did not bring Kyogre. Yeah, so taking away parental bond is definitely a good idea, but he loses that option to skill swap Levitate onto his own Groudon. Depending on how this match will work out, I mean, he could skill swap his Groudon regardless, but yeah, parental bond does not affect Precipice Blades. But yeah, we will see how this works out. Salamence definitely a nice switch here, but I think it's pretty obvious, so to say, that he would like to protect Salamence and get off some sort of speed control like Thunder Wave or even Icy Wind to slow down that Latios a little bit. But yeah, maybe Ethan feels confident to just go for that Draco Meteor, and Alejandro, I don't know, maybe predicts the switch and goes for something like a Substitute or just Hyper Voice. This could be an opportunity, though.
Yeah, I would personally say that Icy Wind would be the safer form of speed control, because even if Ethan does switch, the speed still gets reduced.
And he stays in there?
Yeah, we see no switches at all. Alejandro Mega Evolves his Salamence, and we see a Protect from the Salamence. Relatively safe play. Maybe Ethan has predicted that and gone for the trick! Tricking the Choice Scarf onto the Cresselia, locking it into one move. It's probably going to be Icy Wind, so not the worst move to get locked into.
Yeah, I don't think Alejandro is too sad about that happening. Now, yeah, Latios also, without that Choice Scarf, would have been slower than the Salamence anyway. So even without that Icy Wind, like imagine that Mist or something, yeah, he would have given that sort of speed control away. And even like if he switches out the Latios now and comes back in later on, he won't be able to outspeed the Salamence at all. But maybe he thought that the threat of skill swapping around stuff and, I don't know, was a little bit yeah, too big there. And locking Cresselia into the Icy Wind can actually be yeah, like an opportunity for later on to get Xerneas into a position where it can go for the Geomancy. Since looking at the board, Alejandro still did not really find like ways to deal like a lot of damage. He was able to like get the paralysis on Kangaskhan. Latios is now a little bit, well, like slowed down, but that was also on Ethan's behalf. So he really needs to start finding a way where he can stop Ethan from disrupting even further, so that then Ethan can bring out his Xerneas and potentially take this game.
But we see Cresselia switching out, not fancying being locked into the Choice Scarf Icy Wind, and the Groudon does switch in. We see we see a double edge from Alejandro's from Salamence. As we saw before, it does knock out the Latios. What does this Kangaskhan go for? Either target could be taking a frustration, and we do see the frustration right onto the Salamence. It's not going to do quite enough because of the parental bond that was taken away a couple turns earlier.
Yeah, Kangaskhan without parental bond, definitely not as threatening, but still able to deal a little bit of damage at least. Latios was really not doing anything anymore for Ethan, so he just lets it faint. Definitely wouldn't have been a good idea to switch into his Xerneas or the Groudon to take a lot of damage from the Salamence. But now he kind of has to think about what he can do in this position. Bringing out Xerneas probably would seem tempting, but then again, he could just take like a Fire Punch and like Double Edge. Both of those attacks do a lot of damage to it. He could go into his Groudon, but we know that Alejandro's Groudon is faster, so then just going for, I don't know, Precipice Blaze and Hyper Voice would be really bad. But yeah, he decided to go into the Xerneas. He needs to make something happen.
Yeah, the Xerneas does switch in here, but it is at risk of getting hit by both the Double Edge from the Salamence and the Precipice Blades. Intimidate support would be very, very nice for Ethan right now.
Yeah, also something else to mention, the turn before where he switched out the Cresselia that was locked into Icy Wind was positionally wise like a really good choice. Getting out the Groudon, first of all, at the first I was thinking about, do you really want to take some damage? But he reduced his opponent's damage capabilities anyway by taking away a parental bond, and he wanted to make sure to have some offensive pressure again once that Xerneas hits the field, and that's exactly what he did.
And as we see, the Kangaskhan switches out, preserving the fake outs for later, and we see the Groudon come in instead. Xerneas goes for the Protect, which I feel was which is a good play because it is a nice double target. The Double Edge goes right into the Protect, and we also see a Fire Punch
also into the Protect. Wow!
What a fantastic Protect from Ethan. We've had two great Protects in the same set in the same game.
Yeah, that was definitely needed for Ethan. Now there was a chance that Alejandro would just go for Precipice Blaze and Hyper Voice. This could have been bad. It could have been also okay if that combination knocked out Groudon, then Kangaskhan could have come in again and he would have been able to, say, like Fake Out and Geomancy up. But now, the way the position works now is that Xerneas still needs to find a way to get around that double target, which is still threatening, because Groudon from Alejandro will outspeed Ethan's Groudon, so he won't be able to threaten knocking that out, and Salamence obviously being the fastest Pokemon on the field right now. So, and I think he really needs the Xerneas to be able to take that game, or he would try to, I don't know, take out the Groudon and then take the game with Kangaskhan.
We see a Protect from Alejandro's Groudon, and we see a Double Edge onto the Xerneas. Is not going to knock it out, but it's going to do a decent chunk of damage.
Yeah, this is risky from Alejandro, but we do see that Dazzling Gleam. Okay.
A Dazzling Gleam right into the Salamence. It's going to knock out. The only thing Alejandro has in the back is the Cresselia, which is locked into any move with the Choice Scarf from earlier, and the Groudon does go for the Precipice Blades, but the Groudon of Alejandro does Protect.
Yeah, there could even be an interesting scenario in which Cresselia does not opt to lock itself into like an attacking move.
It
like,
could
for
lock
example,
itself into
skill
Helping
swap.
Hand.
It could just go for the skill swap on Groudon. However, I think Ethan should probably take care of the timer a little bit better. He has the Pokemon advantage, and this is the finals of a national championship. And yep, there is the skill swap that I just mentioned, giving himself that levitate ability now, making it invulnerable against any ground type attacks is really helpful in this situation.
But we do see a Moonblast trying to do as much damage to the Groudon as possible.
With a
critical hit, and it's a Swords Dance from the Groudon, that is very, very dangerous for Ethan. And we see a Precipice Blades, which is just going to not really affect the Groudon, and it's going to do a decent chunk to Cresselia. Yeah, Ethan, really, his win condition at this point is to take this one down to the timer.
Yeah, or he just needs to take out the Groudon, since that is, of course, the one big damage dealer. Yeah, the clock definitely a thing. He was up in Pokemon, he made his choices very quickly, he knew what he wanted to do, and that Moonblast critical hit may have bailed him out of there. But now, of course, the next Moonblast won't do as much damage, and Groudon from Alejandro can just go for a Precipice Blades and then protect from an incoming Fake Out and then go for a Fire Punch to seal up the game. So yeah, Ethan really needs to think about how he wants to go about this. By the way, Rock Tomb also could have been a very interesting attack had he launched that on ground, but he probably was not expecting the skill swap coming out from the Choice Scarf Cresselia.
Yes, that's true. A Rock Tomb would have probably sealed this game right here and then. But this Groudon decides to go for the Protect. We do see, we're probably just going to see another skill swap from Cresselia.
I mean, he kind of has to.
Hey, good protect from Ethan's Groudon, and a skill swapping away the Fairy Aura from Xerneas, which barely matters, but giving the Xerneas the Desolate Land ability.
Yeah, so once Cresselia will go down, Xerneas' attacks won't be boosted anymore as long as it goes down here, but the Moonblast goes into the Protective Ground, and now the timer is really an important figure in this game. I think there was an opportunity right now for Ethan, like if he predicted that Protect to potentially switch into his Kangaskhan and then with Fake Out pressure just stall out a couple of more turns. But yeah, that boosted Ground is just so dangerous, and yeah, let's see what will happen.
We see a Protect from the Xerneas, and we see a Cresselia choosing the correct skill swap target, at least, and giving the Groudon Fairy Aura, while Cresselia has Desolate Land again. Meanwhile, Alejandro's goes for the Precipice Blades and does connect with Ethan's Groudon, probably knocking it out because of the Swords Dance earlier. That is a big knockout for Alejandro.
Once again, I think Ethan needed to make a play there, potentially, I don't know, bringing in the Kangaskhan at some point, but then again, it's always like so risky to see your opponent with that boosted Groudon. And right now, there's still an opportunity, though, for him to take this game to timer if he chooses the right target to Fake Out and, yeah, goes for the Moonblast with Xerneas, I guess. Since there won't be too much time left.
Yes, either trainer could really take this one down to time, depending on who protects and which target the Ethan fakes out with the Kangaskhan. The Xerneas being relatively bulky, neither of these Pokemon want to take a Precipice Blades from the Groudon, but on the same end, the Groudon doesn't want to take a Fake Out and a Dazzling Gleam / Moonblast.
Yeah, definitely not. But I think at this point, maybe even Alejandro could try to take this game to timer. He just needs to find one knockout this turn. But yeah, if the Fake Out, as you said, goes into that ground, then he can't go for it. So therefore, he goes for the Protect. And now, did Ethan call that and go after the Cresselia? He did not.
He does not go for the... And there's a skill swap taking away the Parental Bond from the Kangaskhan. What do we see from the Cresselia? Something big that Xerneas could do right now is go for the Geomancy. And we do see the Geomancy.
I think that's a little too late. The time is running out.
Time is running out, but
he needed to attack that turn.
A Moonblast could have knocked out the Groudon.
He absolutely needed to attack that turn.
Ah, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah, he must have not noticed that the timer is running out like that. And as long as Alejandro's HP percentage in his team is higher than his opponent's, then he would be able to take this game, but it's really tough to tell. Kangaskhan, of course, being the healthiest Pokemon on the field, but the Xerneas is like really damaged, so yeah, Alejandro just has to let time run out, since now against that boosted Xerneas he cannot really do anything else, and we will just see how this game will end. Wow, what a clutch finish.
I'm not entirely sure who's going to win this one via timer. My guess it's Alex, because he's the one. Oh, we do see a Sucker Punch. What a Moonblast! What? Ethan takes the game. Ethan takes the second game.
Why? He attacked? What? Wow. What? What a mistake. He just had to let the time run out. There's okay, so
I don't understand
how this works. Okay, so how this works is there's a comment time and a battle time, and once the battle time hits 0, even if the comment time is still going on, the battle will immediately end. Yeah, he's hitting himself there. Yeah. He was just too excited, and just like 1 second too early, he was like, okay, battle time is at 0. I just clicked, but apparently it was not. So. Wow, we'll go to a game 3.
Yes, we are going to a game 3. A upsetting mistake from Alejandro Gómez. But
I mean, we're not entirely sure if he would have won that game. Like, it still would have been close. Like, it comes down to the HP percentage, but still.
Someone could probably run a calculation on that. If you've got the correct calculation on who would win that game by tie, tweet at us with the hashtag #PlayPokemon while we go into game 3.
On the one hand, I'm like incredibly sorry for Alejandro, like if he would have won the game, because that is just like such a human error to make. But on the other side, we're going to go to see game 3 of this exciting series, and Ooh, oh my gosh.
This is
I did not expect that.
This is the final game of the UK National Championships. After this one game, our national champion will be decided.
After all those battles, like so many players, so many battles from different countries coming together to Liverpool to battle it out, to play it out. Who is the best player in the UK, in Europe at the moment, in attendance at least?
Yeah.
So, and now it comes down to this best of one game away. Both of them are from this championship.
And give it up for Ethan Hall and Alejandro Gómez. Oh, this is
Incredible.
an incredible set. I can't wait to see what.
I can't really tell what is happening now. I don't know who I want to win. I mean, like for Alejandro, if he would have won that game, that would be so heartbreaking if now he's losing out on that. But we will never know. Ladios and Groudon, once again, the leads of choice for Ethan.
Yeah, leader choice. And this time the Thunderous deciding to maybe stay in the back or not be bought at all. We do see this Cresselia again. The Cresselia is now at risk of being targeted with a Choice Scarf, but the Choice Scarf did help him in the last game with the skill swap, but that is a very, very unlikely scenario to happen again.
I do like the adjustment here by Alejandro. Like his opponent led off with Ladios and Groudon twice, and his Thunderous really only did like the paralysis on the Ladios, and then it was just sitting there like not knowing what to do now. But with the Cresselia, he can go for the Thunder Wave and then just spam Icy Winds, get that skill swap on his own Groudon to give itself the Levitate ability. So Cresselia is a lot more flexible in this position than Thunderous, so I really like this adjustment.
Yeah, this is an adjustment Alejandro certainly has made. Maybe he thinks that he will try and win again by a timer. I mean, starting with Groudon and Cresselia is a very, very defensive way to start.
Yeah, I mean, if, like, in the game one, you would probably not lead this, since your opponent could do something like, I don't know, just Kangaskhan and Xerneas and, like, put yourself in a position where they can set up the Xerneas right away, and then you will take a lot of damage with the Groudon trying to defend that. But yeah, Alejandro making the adjustment here, and let's see how it will unfold.
And Ethan brings back the Groudon, probably not wanting...
Memento coming out. Ooh, that's not something we've seen so far. Now, Memento will make that Ladios faint, but the special attack and the attack and he's setting up for Xerneas. He wants to go for Fake Out and Geomancy.
We see a skill swap, but it barely matters because Ethan decides not to take back his Groudon.
He saved it all the way in the finals for the last game, and Swordan's coming out, bringing back its attack stat to neutral. Okay.
Yeah, but the Precipice Blaze won't be doing as much as Alex would want in the next turn. Ethan has set up this Xerneas Kangaskhan setup beautifully, sacrificing his Latios in that way, and I don't know which targets Ethan wants to fake out. Probably the Cresselia and not risk the Thunder Wave, and then maybe a Geomancy from...
Yeah, however, he was risking so much with that play. He was basically going all in. He's like so committed right now. He sacrificed one Pokemon just to get in this specific situation. So if he doesn't like make the right call right here and sets up Geomancy, for example, Alejandro just has a Pokemon more, you know? So that kind of matters sometimes.
Yes, but with a Geomancy, Dazzling Gleams are going to be hurting and are going to be helping Ethan a lot.
Memento, that's such a cool tech. I was really not seeing that coming. Yeah, that's just really nice. Also,
I'm loving this Scarf Latios. Anything with a Choice Scarf is good in my books. Dialga's Latios, but here we see Alejandro's Ethan's Kangaskhan Mega Evolving, deciding to choose the... who does he target with the Fake Out? Targets the Cresselia with a Fake Out, not wanting to be Thunder Waved on the Xerneas, and we do see a Geomancy from the Xerneas. Xerneas is absorbing power, and at the end of this lovely, lovely animation, will be at doubled special defense, special attack and speed. Meanwhile, this Groudon is free to go for a move, but as we saw from the Memento earlier, the Swords Dance doesn't really affect much.
Yeah, there wasn't really any point for any other player for Alejandro. He doesn't want to go for Precipice Blades, because if he misses this Xerneas, it's probably game over. Also, he doesn't want to try to like go for a Protect here in case Kangaskhan wanted to target down the Groudon, because you have to make sure that you get off either the Thunder Wave or the Fire Punch, so you take down either the speed or the HP of the Xerneas.
Yes, but right now Ethan's in a dangerous position, because I wouldn't be surprised if Alejandro double targets the Xerneas with a Thunder Wave and another Fire Punch, because the combination of Kangaskhan and Xerneas can only knock out one Pokemon in the field.
Yeah, but he can go for Protect. So
yeah.
or he could also just, if Alejandro decided to like switch out or Protect or make a passive play, he has the capability to take out either of Alejandro's Pokemon with a double target with, say, Moonblast and Frustration. So if Ethan definitely has given himself a chance to take home this title.
We get a Moonblast from the Cresselia.
Yeah, that is not what you wanted to see here.
And a Frustration onto the Cresselia as well, probably knocking it out most likely. What do we see from the Groudon? Do we see a Precipice Blades?
He was really hoping to see a Protect there,
the
but
Harsh
nope.
Sunlight goes away. Will the Fire Punch, the Precipice Blades?
It misses the Xerneas! Oh my gosh! Xerneas being boosted, still hanging in there. Kangaskhan taking around 50% of its health, but that was not the primary target Alejandro was looking for there. Maybe he was calculating for a potential, like, if Xerneas goes down, the sun is gone, then Fire Punch might have not been enough, but I don't know, it would have been really close. So, but that is such a unique situation. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, the Thunderous spells disaster for Ethan though. A Thunder Wave on either target though can really ruin him at this point.
Yeah, this miss could have very well cost him the championship, but he's not out yet. He does have his Thunderous. He does have the possibility to go for like a Thunder Wave to slow down the Xerneas. So he did indeed bring both Thunderous and Cresselia, however, this time like in reversed order. But yeah, oh my gosh, Ethan definitely happy with that miss, I would assume.
Yeah, and the Thunderous, I don't know how bulky it is. I don't know if it will be able to take a +2 Moonblast, but yeah.
Yeah, probably not unless it has the Focus Sash.
Ooh, yeah, but we did see the Citrus Berry on it earlier.
Yes.
But we see the Xerneas protecting.
And
Alejandro
really happy about this, so I would assume that he went after the Kangaskhan.
Oh no, into the Protect, and Kangaskhan does go for the Frustration onto the Thunderous, doing a lot of damage, proccing the Citrus Berry, but will leave the Thunderous at around about minus 50% health after the second hit. Yeah, just about, and we see a Fire Punch from the Groudon into the Kangaskhan slot, knocking it out.
And it's enough, yeah, even without the sun, same type attack bonus, and that Kangaskhan is out of the field. So now Ethan is down to his last two Pokemon. That boosted Xerneas, that brought him all the way to the finals of the UK Pokémon VG National Championships, and it is the Groudon. Okay.
We do see the Groudon. Yeah. It is a very bulky Groudon. It will be able to take a Precipice Blades from Alejandro's Groudon, but a Dazzling Gleam should be just about enough to knock out the Thunderous. I think both, if the timer were a little bit lower, one of them could take it now, but I think we will be seeing...
yeah, I don't think this one is going down to timer.
Not at all.
Alejandro has the possibility to go for a Protect with his Groudon and launch the Thunder Wave into his opponent's Xerneas to slow it down, and if he has his own Kyogre in the back this time and switch things up a little bit from that Salamence that he brought into the previous two games, that would be like a fantastic adjustment on his end, but yeah, we don't know about that yet.
But yeah, the Xerneas is the biggest danger for Alejandro yet.
He tries to go for the double protect, but it fails.
Thunder Wave onto the Xerneas.
He did not try to protect his own Groudon though, so yeah, that was a possibility for Ethan to just attack with both his Pokemon. And the Precipice Blade's coming out. This time it connects.
This time it connects. Will it knock out the Xerneas?
The players are already shaking hands. Xerneas goes down.
Groudon takes a lot of damage from the Precipice Blades as well. The handshake has come out. I believe Alejandro might be taking this game. Rock Tomb onto the Thunderous, knocking the Thunderous out. It might not matter. It might be a bit too late.
Yeah, now we will get confirmation on Alejandro's last Pokemon, if it is that Kyogre.
It is the Salamence,
but it doesn't matter anymore.
The game is over.
He has done it. He has become...
The game is over. Your VGC UK National Champion is Alejandro Gómez from Spain.
What an effort. Definitely deserved. Such a strong player, such a good team in this metagame. He didn't make any mistakes on the whole stream. Like, wow, what a story. Just such a great performance.
573 championship points, second in Europe, 600 more in the bank. That's doubling his championship point score and ending him at about 1,173 championship points, I believe. He's gone 14 games of best of 3 and he's gone undefeated in this tournament. Alex Gómez is your VGC National Champion. We will be back very shortly with we'll be back very shortly. What an insane game that was, and we will be having an interview with him at the time, so guys, stay tuned. I'm out of breath. But yeah, stay tuned, guys.
Amazing set. See you in a bit.
Welcome back to the Pokémon VGC UK National Championships. We are here for one last final interview of the finalist and our national champion for England. How do you feel, man?
Great.
Yeah, I mean, like, you've entered this tournament, second in Europe with 573 CP. You've doubled that today, 11,173 championship points. That is a lot. That is more than Barish actually did last season.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Tell us about that game, man.
Yes, thank you.
So, like, you've been using double primals pretty much all season. You started it all in Wakefield with Bronzong,
Yep.
and Bronzong became popular for you. But why did you make the switch from Bronzong to Cresselia?
Oh, you know, double primal, unless in USA and I think in Europe too, and D7 unless started to have a lot of popularity.
Yeah.
So my Bronzong team had a difficult matchup against the other double primal teams.
Right.
I had to make most of the time all the right plays, and in this format,
Yeah,
making
yeah.
all the right plays it's quite difficult. So I did opt to go with this option, with this variant. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like the team you are using, it's been used by a lot of people. It's picked up a lot of steam. Like double primals, I would say, is probably the best team on the format. I would say like the double primals is the new big six, really.
To be honest, I got to disagree. I think it's the best archetype, but not the not really though. I think it's the best archetype in best of 3, and otherwise, I think best of 1, Journey's Groudon, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of best of 3 games, 14 games you have played this whole weekend. All of them were best of 3, 14 rounds of best of 3 games, and you've not dropped a single one. That's an insane accomplishment, man. So do you prefer best of 3 over best of 1?
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like So talk us through that game, like against Ethan. Were you worried about the Xerneas?
I mean, I knew that Xerneas was my biggest threat.
Yeah.
So I had to get rid of Xerneas as soon as possible. Since I have got Salamence, Groudon, since it's physical, it's not that threat.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's why I opted to paralyze as soon as possible Xerneas and then sweep out with Groudon.
Yeah. But yeah, you've done such a good job today. Like, I'm incredibly impressed. I saw you battle in Wakefield and you were incredible there as well. Like, the games you have played were insanely entertaining. You're very good at entertaining the crowd. Like, you seem to have that natural presence. But yeah, that concludes our interview with Pokealex, your VGC national champion. It is only your second year in a seniors division, and he's already won a national championship, so definitely a player to watch out for. We will be taking a short break, and then we will be concluding the stream afterwards.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we're back here in Liverpool for a very, very last time. It's over. What a final.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Pokemon matches, but I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that. You know, Game 2, one of the strangest endings to any match I've ever seen. And I know sometimes when we see that, you kind of have to worry, is the player going to play well in Game 3, or are they going to kind of tilt off the face of the earth? But wow, what an amazing performance by Alejandro in the third game. Certainly earned that victory.
Yeah, definitely. He looked so crushed after that second game, after he realized what he just did. But then coming back that strong in the third game. And yeah, even after that memento and so on, like, I don't know, what were your feelings when you were watching that finals? Let us know on social media. I don't know, tweet at us with the hashtag #PlayPokemon. You can check us out on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Pokemon, or on YouTube. And yeah, just get connected with us. as well as for like upcoming events. I mean, this is not the only championship that we have in Europe. There will be another one just next weekend. So all of the players that were here and were probably like not satisfied with the placement. I think Alejandro probably was.
He did all right.
Yeah, you can come over to Castle next weekend, 21st and 22nd of May. And yeah, a couple of weeks after that in Milan, the Italian National Championships. So, wow. So what do we take away from this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we're probably all surprised to see that Double Prime will really reign supreme there. And even within that, I mean, the way you play that team really kind of adjusted over the course of the weekend, where I feel like we saw the same lead matchup with Ethan taking on like 3 different people.
Yes.
But Alex started playing it differently, right? Game 2, he adjusted. He didn't just like cough anything up while paralyzing Latios. He got a big protect off.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, I mean, Game 3 is completely different. He just chose to go with the Cresselia Groudon thing, just kind of stomp the game. So I'm hoping that players both learn from, there's a lot of different team compositions that work well this year, but also there's a lot of different ways to play matchups. And it hurts sometimes. You just kind of get caught up in doing everything the same way. Yeah,
I definitely think that Cresselia was like one of the huge points of what separated Alex's team from the other players. The way he chose his moves and so on, and also the way he played with it. Like, his maneuvering was just superb over the entirety of the weekend, and yeah, definitely deserves to win this. So yeah, looking up to the upcoming events, what do you expect as for the metagame?
Yeah, I kind of think that Groudon Xerneas, unfortunately, will rebound. I think it's kind of a weird outlier, but so few players even tried. But it looked pretty good, on stream the past few rounds there, where maybe the big 6 isn't the way to play Groudon Xerneas, yes, but that the bulkier Xerneas and maybe using some different support Pokemon to kind of breathe life back into that archetype, and not play it quite so
one-dimensional.
Yeah. I think that's definitely going to be a thing. I mean, certainly Double Prime, I think we're going to continue to see more of. And like you mentioned, I mean, not only was the Cresselia, I think the Cresselia Thundurus combination in particular, just to give him so much control, is good, but it kind of just feels right where he's got maybe the best Mega Pokemon in this year's format, maybe the 2 best restricted Pokemon, and then Cresselia Thundurus, kind of as long as they've been around, have kind of been the best support. So it kind of just makes sense that team core would be great.
Yes, and he definitely made it work. I mean, he probably also has some weak spots here and there, so people might either try to copy what he did or try to adapt. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to what will happen that next weekend. Maybe even like something like Yveltal will make an appearance again. So yeah, I guess that's it from us. Thanks so much to everyone on the production team. It was a great pleasure to be here, and it was a lot of fun to connect with everybody, all the fans. Everything was great. Yeah, thanks so much to you for coming out all the way from the US. Yeah,
yeah, happy to be here. Thanks to the fans for watching the stream, all the other commentators. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the TCG and the Pokken streams as well. And keep an eye on Pokemon.com to find out about future events and future streams.
Yeah, thanks to Matt, Jay, and Nino. And yeah, I guess we'll wrap things up here. That was an exciting weekend.
Yeah, it was great. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did, and hopefully next time you have such a good time too.
Yeah. Bye-bye.